Lord manjushree. Sword. 105. Maya was a charming young girl with a bright face and beautiful smile. She was very kind and generous, and loved to spend her time helping others. The village children flocked around her because she was so loving and kind. In fact, everybody in the village was very fond of her. She went to school in a nearby village and had to walk 2 miles every morning. The path leading to the school went through a forest with wild animals, birds and lots of colorful trees and shrubs. On her journey through the forest, she would sometimes wander away from the path singing to the birds and save insects from being stepped on. She would carry them on a leaf and put them in a safe place. So, she often arrived late to school. Even though she was kind, Maya was not as clever as the other students in her class and only narrowly managed to pass her exams, and her lateness made it even worse. Her teachers and parents were worried. They often remarked, "You may be kind, Maya, but that is not going to help you in your studies or to get a good job when you grow up. You need to stop spending time helping others, wandering around in the forest, and focus on your studies." Maya was sad from the remarks her teachers and parents made. So she started devoting more time to her studies. But that did not help either. Each time she tried to focus on her textbooks, she would drift away into her imagination and fall asleep. She failed her exams. Her parents were furious and scolded her. Maya was not very happy and spent her nights crying on her pillow. One day she was walking through the forest, feeling sad. Suddenly, she saw a large animal on the path ahead. She walked a few steps forward and saw it was a large tiger sitting on the middle of the path. At first, she was afraid and took a few steps back. Her heart was beating very fast and she could hear it thumping in her ears. She was afraid the tiger would eat her up. Crossing to just as she was preparing to run, she heard the tiger crying. Maya stopped and listened carefully. The tiger was really crying. Maya collected her courage and began to inch towards the tiger. As she went closer, she saw the tiger's head was wounded and it was bleeding. She went up to the tiger and gently touched him. He did not harm her. He merely looked at her with eyes full of pain. Maya quickly grabbed some wild herbs from the ground and crushed them with her hands and rubbed it on the tiger's head. She held his head and said, "Don't worry, tiger. These herbs will heal you and you will be better soon." He put his head on her lap and rested. Maya held him until he fell asleep and slowly lifted his head away and placed it on the ground. She then left him to rest and headed off to school. Soon after school had ended, she rushed back to the forest. She wondered what had happened to the tiger. She arrived at the same place where she had left the tiger, but the animal had gone. She called out for him, but he did not come. She then saw paw prints in the ground and followed the trail inside the forest. She kept walking and after some time had passed, she found herself standing in front of a lake. She had never seen this lake before. It was beautiful and surrounded by lots of pretty flowers, butterflies and colorful trees. Just as Maya was looking around the lake in amazement, she heard a voice call her name, "Maya, look over here, I am behind you." She turned her head and saw a bright beautiful form in the middle of the lake. It was a statue, golden in color, and it was so bright that she had to put her hands over her eyes to look at it. The statue said, "Do you remember me? You healed my wound this morning." She was shocked. "You're the tiger, but you look different now and you're standing in the middle of the lake. How is that possible?" The statue said, "I am Manjushree, the Lord of Wisdom, and I took the form of the tiger this morning to test. 23. 24. Your compassion. You are a very kind girl, Maya. Maya was totally surprised and said, You're the Lord Manjushree. I cannot believe it. He laughed and said, Come closer, I will give you something. She walked towards the lake and Lord Manjushree took out a golden sword from the water and gave it to her. He said, This is the sword of wisdom, Maya. This sword will always be with you and will help you with your studies. You must recite the mantra, Om Ra Pa Canad, every night before you go to bed. As she held the sword in her hands, it dissolved inside her heart. The Lord then said, The sword is in your heart and it will always protect you. I am giving this to you as a gift because you are a very kind girl. But you must promise to work hard in your studies and continue to be kind to others. Your kindness will help many people, animals, birds, insects and other beings in the future. The mantra will work only if you make an effort. Maya said, Thank you Lord Manjushree. I will do as you have said. The statue disappeared and all of a sudden Maya found herself at the same spot where she left the tiger. It all felt like magic. She could not believe what had just happened. She ran home, quickly changed, ate her dinner and went to her room. There she chanted the mantra as many times as she could until she fell asleep. That night she dreamt of Lord Manjushree and his sword. From then on Maya never had difficulties focusing on her studies. She kept her promise to Lord Manjushree and worked hard and continued to be kind to others. She was able to remember her lessons and passed with flying colors. Her parents and teachers said, We are very happy and proud of you Maya. You are both kind and wise. She smiled back at them and silently thanked Lord Manjushree for blessing her with his compassion. COC